Yes, we do.
Okay, good. Solid. There's only 69 cards, so this should not be too slow.
Cool. All right. Hey, guys. Welcome to the first live stream that we have done in a very long time. We didn't do one for the last set that came out, but
Yeah.
life
Well,
got...
I mean, to be fair, so everyone knows what's been going on. So obviously, we've been uploading a lot of Lethal Company videos. It's because we recorded those like mostly about a month ago. So in my free time, I've just been editing those down, and those are like a lower lift. But me and James both just had a lot going on at work. So
that's the fun part about being an adult,
Yeah.
Hang on, let me exit out of CK3 real quick.
You can tell that we're very, very well prepared.
I was eating dinner in my defense.
James was eating dinner. I was upstairs cooking as well. So now that we're ready to go, shouldn't have any problems.
All right, let's hop right into it. So just like every other pack breakdown we've done so far, we have 6 tiers here. Patrick, you want to run us through them?
Yeah. 1 second. So the tiers that we've got should be meta defining at the top. Yes, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, so we have meta defining all the way at the top there, and that's kind of like stuff that will entirely, or meta warping, stuff that will entirely shift the meta. Then underneath it, we have tech cards. So we have cards that, will either come in as replacements for other cards, or will be, one-ofs in deck, but not like deck defining features, but like you would expect to see these. Has potential is like a step below that. It's a card basically that we think could be good, but we're just not sure right now, and wouldn't be surprised if it moved up or down a tier. Niche is like your Dragonite tier, basically. It's like, yeah, you can play it, but like
Fan Rotom.
Yeah, it's not gonna do anything. And then bad is just outright like horrible. Like these are bad cards. Do not even put it in your deck is better without it. And then not fully evolved is kind of our tier list for, or our location for stuff that's like you can't really assess it because it's a stage 1 and it doesn't do anything special. So there's no real reason to take a look at that. So.
And to point out, however, if it's not a fully evolved Pokemon, but there are other versions of that Pokemon, we will still judge it on whether it is better or worse than the version that currently exists.
Right.
Here, Patrick, I'm going to shoot you a call on Discord so you can see my screen in real time instead of having the stream delay.
Thank you. That is better. Yeah, that'll be good. Because I had to pull up the stream so I could see what the tiers exactly were called.
I didn't think about that when I didn't answer your call.
Yeah, thank you. Just FYI, James doesn't answer my calls.
Okay, everybody has to call my wife to get a hold of me.
Literally, James, did I not do that?
Yes, we were just about to go live, and my wife walks in here and goes, "Hey, Patrick said give him a call." I'm like, I know, I'm talking to him right now.
Yeah. So, anyway, trying to put it out on my socials. Okay.
Socials, let's go. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff.
Yes.
And give us chats. I like talking to Patrick, but
please put any thoughts on anything that we are discussing down in the chat right there. I'm almost done getting set up over here. So once I get this squared away, we should be good to go. Okay.
Right, I'm gonna start a poll while you're doing that.
Well, I'm done now. So what's your poll?
I gotta find the poll on Twitch. There it is. Manage poll.
What is the poll gonna say? Who's more correct about their assessments, me or you?
Always me. Always me.
Of course, naturally. Looks like you've shaved recently. You look nice and clean cut. I need a haircut really bad. So
duration 10 minutes. Start poll.
Does James look better with his new beard or the old one? I mean, I gotta say he's sexy both ways, but I definitely would prefer the old one. I'll just say that.
Ow. No, I literally just did this today. It's growing on me, but I always reminds me as soon as I shave my beard, how round my cheeks are.
Yeah, but it's not like it's. I think that's just the shape of your face. I don't think it's like you're fat or anything like that.
No, well, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
You decided to stop calling me fat now.
Yeah. Thank you, James. If
Mini
you haven't seen that
says-
video, go check out our Lethal Company stuff. Apparently, calling Goku Vegeta is worse than calling James fat. So
It is. It is.
it's good to know.
Mini Moose says she likes my beard, so I'm happy with
That's
that.
all that really matters, really, at the end of the day.
All
All
right.
right. So let's get to it.
First
So
card.
James. Yeah. Well, I got to ask you, James, before we jump in, how familiar are you with the new set?
Not very. Like you mentioned, life has been pretty busy, so I've done my daily polls, but I haven't actually played with any of the new cards. There's a couple of them that I'm really excited for and looking out for, but I don't have a great understanding of everything.
Yeah, I'll just say this: I've got a new deck I'm playing with one of the new cards, and it is pretty baller. So
This will legitimately
we'll
be a
talk about
first
it.
look for me, like a first serious look at this
first
set.
assessment. Okay, so I think just right off rip, let's just toss Patillo in the not fully evolved.
Yep.
There is one. I know we have one.
Is there?
It's yeah. So I will send you a picture of it once I find it. I feel like there's not a whole hill of beans difference, realistically speaking, between these two. But go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong. So that is
Deal 10
the
damage.
Patillo from Genetic Apex.
Yeah,
It's just the
you're
Felfield.
literally just trading 10 healing for 10 damage.
Yeah, which
Everything else is the same.
I'll just say my estimation for where we are in the game, that's really doesn't matter. It's
10
not
healing does nothing. I mean, yeah, because
well, it's 10 healing, 10 damage, doesn't matter. There's so much healing in the game, that the extra 10 damage that you're doing really isn't that impactful. You're not KOing anything with Patillo anyway. It's probably going to get knocked out right away anyway. So I just don't think there's a huge hill of beans of difference. So I just toss it not fully evolved.
yeah.
So
Lilligant.
yes. So Lilligant. So this one is objectively bad because of the old Lilligant. You would just want to run that instead. So I'll send that in the chat for you as well so you can see it. So what the old Lilligant does is for 2 energy, you are able to boost one of your grass Pokemon with another grass energy. It does 50 damage, so 10 less damage than this Lilligant, 10 less health, but the utility is just better. If you're going to run Lilligant, you'd rather run the other one. Not that you would. I don't think you'd run either one of them, but
I would say this is basically just a worse version of Leafeon.
pretty much. It's it's arguably a worse version of Pachirisu from Shining Revelry, I believe. Yes.
Well, it's definitely worse because Pachirisu is a basic.
Yeah,
It costs 1 energy.
It does very oh wow, about my mic. It does very, very similar things. So yeah, I just wouldn't run it. I think if we're good with moving on.
Yep.
I think Rowlet is straight up worse than the previous Rowlet, in my opinion. I'd rather just take the previous Rowlet skill dive that allows you to poke something on the bench for 10, guaranteed.
Well, and Rowlet, the old Rowlet is
Decidueye.
designed to set up Decidueye EX.
Right. And that's primarily what you'd be playing it for, so I don't see any reason to run this Rowlet.
This is just worse Eevee.
Yes. Yeah. I will say Dartrix I would put up in tech cards all the way up there just immediately. I think that this card is better than the current Dartrix.
What does the current one do? We have rare candy, so I don't.
Yeah,
run it.
nobody really runs it. But here you can take a look. The current Dartrix just for 1 energy does 30 damage. So it's 10 less damage, but this one you get to pick any of the Pokemon to do it too.
Yeah, I think the ability to hit benched Pokemon is just really strong.
Yeah, it's objectively better. So I would put it in tech card.
Especially when people are still running around with Giratina Darkrai.
Yeah. And the reason I'm putting it specifically in tech card is it's not changing the meta like at all around it. It's just now you've upgraded your previous Dartrix with this one.
Yep.
So I would also put the next Decidueye in there too. I don't think that this is changing the meta all that much. Now, I could see an argument that it would, But this Decidueye, so James, it does 70 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. You can pick any of them. Do you know why the 70 damage threshold is that relevant?
Why?
Take a look at this card. I'm going to send it to you. Everyone in the chat probably knows exactly what I'm talking about, but if you've been playing at all on ranked during the last season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you can put this now in your Catbird decks where you have Decidueye and you have Meowscarada, and this immediately kills Oricorio without a any Oricorio without a giant cape. So you could put one copy of this and one copy of Decidueye EX, run 2 lines, 2 Rowlets basically. You can evolve it into this one or the Decidueye EX, depending on what you're facing. Gives you a lot of flexibility. I think this becomes an auto include in the Decidueye deck, but I don't think it changes the meta.
So tech cards then.
I put in tech cards. Yep.
So
100%.
question, because the last time we met was when all the shiny Pokemon are coming out.
Shining Revelry, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that Beedrill EX was gonna completely change the meta. Did it do anything?
It's pretty good. I would say it's probably a B tier deck, in my opinion, in my estimation. I just think that with what we're seeing right now, there's so much fast 1 to 2 energy attackers functionally that Beedrill's effect doesn't really matter to remove energies. Like if you're facing a Zard deck or like a Gyarados deck, like that's pretty good because it takes a while for those things to get online, or it really seriously puts them back. But it's just not consistent, and we're about to see a better card that is released in this set that is just Beedrill but like better. Like I don't really know how to explain it beyond that, and I don't want to talk too much about it just yet.
Okay.
So Buzzwole, though, this I think would be our first meta warping. This is basically centralizing the meta right now with the next 2 cards. In my opinion,
say, like first glance, this does nothing for me. I mean, it's a basic.
Right. So
grass doesn't have. I mean, grass has ramp, but it requires other Pokemon to go out first, like your Leafeon, for example, which negates the benefit of this being a basic.
Right. But so James, I think what we have to do is I need you to grab Buzzwole. I would probably say Kartana, I think is like the one that people are preferring between Kartana and Pheromosa, but you could run both. I need you to scroll all the way down, get Celesteela, put all of these in meta warping, and then get Lusamine.
Wait,
Beastite.
Where is Celestina? Where the heck?
It's a normal type. It's a colorless.
Okay.
It's the same typing as Kartana, just they like in the actual real game.
Mm-hmm.
So grab that Lusamine, which is the supporter.
Here, right?
Yeah. It's all the way at the bottom. All the way at the bottom. No, scroll. I think there you go. This is the very last card. Beastite, which is a Pokemon tool, and Beast Wall, which is an item card. Those last 2 are less important, but can be really good. So, yep, right there. Okay, so all of these cards make it so that your Buzzwole is cracked. So here's the play order, if you will, right? So ideally, you'd start with a Kartana or something else like that, because Kartana is just so aggressive. Get in for a bunch of damage early, because your Thrash Metal does 40. Then what you do is you build up your Buzzwole on the bench.
Hey, Mega, how's it going? Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. Eventually, your Buzzwole gets KO'd. Or not your Buzzwole, your Kartana gets KO'd. Then you bring out your Buzzwole. You can always Lusamine onto your Buzzwole once your starter gets KO'd, because it says choose one of your Ultra Beasts attached to random energy from your discard pile to that Pokemon. But you can only use this card if your opponent has gotten at least 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So your Buzzwole, there's some ramp right there for you right off of your Kartana. Or if you're running something else, like a Celesteela, or you have a different opening, you can always do that. But typically that's what I've been seeing. You bring in the Buzzwole. Now, the Buzzwole every turn is doing 120. It might be St. Patrick, but I read it and it says during your next turn, it can't use Big Beat. Well, fear not, my friend. If you have 2 Celesteela on your bench, which it's a basic, so you can always search it with Pokeball, Then what you can do is you can use the first Celesteela to switch your Buzzwole out to put in the second Celesteela. Then you can use the second Celesteela to switch that Celesteela out to bring in your Buzzwole, and that debuff that you can't use Big Beat is now gone. So you just are doing 120 every single turn. You don't have to worry about the downside.
I'm getting Yu-Gi-Oh vibes. It's a soft once per turn.
It literally is exactly that. It's a soft once per turn. It's a, you flip it face down and it forgets that it has the effect on it.
Uh-huh.
So this is currently forming, I think, top 1, top 2 decks to come out of this set. It's still really early on.
This seems really bad to me because, okay, you're looking at a 4 to 5 card combo in this game. That seems incredibly inconsistent to me. For what is potentially 120 damage per turn, I mean... I feel like one in every...
inconsistent, but I'm just going to tell you right now that you do pretty well turn 1 almost every single time.
Well, you're going to do pretty well turn 1 when you're coming out swinging with a basic Pokemon that does 40 damage.
Yeah. That's your ideal, obviously, but the nice thing about it is if you have Celesteela, you can just basically ignore the retreat cost on everything. So you're just constantly cycling dudes. You want your Kartana to go down early, so then you can always ramp something else with Lusamine. So it's just like you just have this ramp, and if you lose 2 Kartanas or like a Pheromosa or Kartana or what have you, then you bring up Buzzwole. That's, you know, you've lost 2 points, and if you lose your Buzzwole, it doesn't matter at that point. I mean, it just works really, really well for what it is that it does. At the end of the day, it's like hard to explain without like seeing it in action, and I don't own the card, so I can't run it. I can only just like watch other people run it.
No, I was gonna say it like the theory makes sense, but I don't know if Jeremy's in the chat, but it feels like a Jeremy deck where it's like, I just got to get these 7 cards together. And if I get these 7 cards together at the same time, I'm unbeatable. And it's like, yes, how often is that going to happen? Because if I see something like this can get one tapped very easily by a lot of the decks that are running around the meta right now. This at 140 isn't particularly beefy for an EX Pokemon. I can one-hit KO this with Red and the cat, Meowscarada. Yeah. Or I can one-hit KO this with my Lucario and Rampardos deck.
Right.
And I can do that to every single thing that I see here. And...
Lucario, well, by the way, Rampardos is weak to this, so it actually would die in 1 hit from Buzzwole if you have like a Giovanni or something.
Yes.
Or if you've got the attached item card that I highlighted, the Beast Type to it, because it, you know.
Okay, and this Beast Wall and Beast Die, I have pulled these, so I have.
Beast Wall is not very good.
Beast Wall is bad.
Beast Wall is not. It's you want a one of because you're gonna want it early, but like you could drop it easily. Like the ideal deck list would be 2 Buzzwole, 2 Celesteela, 2 Pokeball, 2 Professor's Research, 2 Leaf Cape. Right, so then that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10 of your cards. 2 Pheromosa or 2 Kartana. That's your 12th. Probably 2 Lusamines, Dawns, random Dawns, Reds, Pokemon Center Lady Cyrus. If you're running Pheromosa, you have Ericas, so you can keep your guy healthy. The big counter to this deck right now would be the Steam Zard, because it can one-tap Buzzwole even with a Leaf Cape. So, but I'm just letting you know right now this deck is really good.
Fair enough. I believe you when you say that it's good, but on paper, this deck should be absolutely terrible.
It just works.
Classic TCG analysis. This is just too many cards coming together for not enough payoff compared to other things that are in the meta, you know?
Well, just keep in mind that you can, you know, it usually takes like 2 to 3 turns before people's decks are online. And if you can get Kartana swinging away right away into some decks, it just completely destroys them.
Oh, this is fantastic. This is goated. I love this.
It's Grass Farfetch'd with an Ultra Beast tag, so it benefits from Ultra Beast too. It's really
this is amazing. It's all the shenanigans to make this function that I don't like.
Right. Well, I'm just saying what we've
I
seen
am
is that
not
it
I am not
works.
coming after you. I am just giving a counter opinion because I wouldn't run it. And as far as these are concerned, I don't like this at all
Yeah, I don't think
because
Beast Ball is probably the card you cut first out of those that I pulled up.
well, yeah, because if you don't, essentially, if you don't open this or
Yeah,
draw it
it's a
on your
dead
first
card.
turn, it's dead.
Yeah, pretty
Then
much.
look at this. So this card does 10 or does 10 plus 10 damage to each of your opponent's active Pokemon for each point you've gotten. So at max, you're doing plus 20 damage,
Right.
and it requires you to have already done damage. So
But it's every turn you do plus 20. You combo that with red.
yes.
Now you're doing plus 40. You
Again,
know,
you're talking about multiple cards coming together though, which you're only going to get
right.
off. You're not going to get off consistently. And this to me says I am a win more card.
Oh, big time. That's basically what people are saying about it, is that it's you're already ahead and you're just closing out the game basically.
Yeah, which if that's
Yeah.
if that's fine, but I mean that's my gripe with this card is that it's win more. If you're getting maximum value out of this card, you probably don't need this card.
Which is fair. That's probably the second one you cut out of those if you have to.
This I
A
like.
lot of a lot of decks really aren't running either one of those two because they'd rather run extra copies of Cyrus
Mm-hmm.
or Erica. I mean, they're running the Leaf Cave, maybe Pokemon Comms, but yeah. So it's just there's you're either running, in some cases you're running all four of them, but you're either running Kartana or Pheromosa and then Buzzwole and Celesteela. So you're opening, like, even if you open Celesteela, which is probably the worst one you can open, once you grab another one with either the two Pokeballs, the two Professors Research, you either hard draw it, things like that, then you just swap it out for free. You don't need any like leafs, X speeds, anything like that. It's just built in. And worst case scenario, like let's say your Buzzwole gets knocked out, you can just bring in Celesteela and Lusamine immediately to get the extra 2 energy you need back onto Celesteela, and then you use your 1 turn to attach the energy, and Celesteela is already going for 100 damage on a coin flip, granted.
Yeah.
But you have backup plans. It's got a great opener in Kartana, primarily, and if you're going to try to do some Cyrus strats, you could use Pheromosa. And then you have a really good mid game in Buzzwole, and if you need it, you've got an end game in Celesteela that's at random. But I just think it's pretty good.
I mean I really like Lusamine. I like Kartana. I hate this. And this I think has its uses. I have a personal gripe with this mostly because so if we think back to the Shining Revelry, and there were all these cards that had unique interactions with Arceus.
Yeah,
which was great, and it made for a lot of interesting decks. But every single Arceus deck tended to have the same problem, which is if
right.
you open it with Arceus as your only basic Pokemon, you're just kind of dead for a few turns. And he's going to be taking damage from faster
because he can't get out. You can't get him out unless you have a leaf.
Yes.
And that's the best part about this, is that you can get Celesteela out once you have something else if you open Celesteela.
That's true. You would have to have another Ultra Beast, but if you're running all Ultra Beast, that's a fair
If
point.
you're running 8 Ultra Beast, James, which I've seen some lists do that, because that would be 2 Buzzwole, 2 Kartana, 2 Pheromosa, and 2 Celesteela. If you're running 8 of them, that's 40% of your deck. You draw 5 cards as your start. Your first turn you're drawing a 6th, so you're left with 14 cards in your deck. There's a pretty high chance you have 2 of these guys in your hand, or that you will draw one fairly quickly with either the next 2 Pokeballs, which makes up, that's half of your deck is getting you a basic Ultra Beast, basically, either through hard draw or search. And then another 2 cards are Professor's Research to then draw 2 more cards to give you another 2 rolls at it. So the consistency of getting something other than Celesteela is pretty high. Now, are you going to open games where you just have Celesteela and that's it, and then Pokeball gets you your second Celesteela?
It happens.
Yeah, probably. But like, that's going to be a vanishingly small minority of cases, and quite frequently you're going to get your other 2 attackers that actually do something.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. That's an issue that whatchamacallit, Arceus did not have.
Right.
All right. So since we've been talking about all of these, let's rank them real quick.
Yeah. So I think the heart and soul of the deck really is Buzzwole, Lusamine, and Celesteela, so those have to go in meta warping for me.
I have such a hard time putting a card like this in meta warping.
It just makes all of the Ultra Beasts work. Every single Ultra Beast deck that I've seen that like centers around an Ultra Beast just has at least one of them in it. It makes the whole archetype function really, really well. Which is crazy that we're getting archetypes now.
I was going to say, this is the first time that we're really addressing the concept
Arceus
of an
was an archetype.
Yes, but it was also bad.
Well, yes, the archetype of Arceus was bad. You ran it with Dialga and Mew and stuff. So, yeah. But, yes, this is the first time that the archetypes actually come together, really.
I'll...
I'm just telling you right now, we will get railed in the comments if you don't put Buzzwole and Celesteela and Lusamine in meta warping. That's like what everyone is playing in, Ultra Ball and Master Ball right now, plus like all the obviously the big stuff from last season.
But I'll put it there. I'm just not happy about it.
That's fine. I would probably put the other two, Pheromosa and Kartana, into tech cards because you choose between them, right? It's not an auto include. It's what am I trying to do? Do I want Cyrus in my deck, or do I want to, to be a little bit more aggressive in the active slot?
I think the answer is always to try to be more aggressive early.
I'm just saying I've seen both. I've seen both in the deck.
I'm not saying there's
one or the other. Yeah.
I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I'm just saying my preference would be to come out. Well, that's also, if you look at every deck that I play, that's what every deck does.
Yes. And I think that there's going to be some cards in here, James, that you're really going to enjoy. So there's cards in here that I really like, and I think there's going to be cards in here that you really like. So, by the way, with this next card, I didn't realize we were in Sinnoh right now, but the only fire type is Blacephalon, which is the Cake Pop card. So
yeah, what is okay? Let me get. Let me go back to that.
Yeah,
what the
so
heck is
Pop.
this? I don't even know.
Blacephalon. It's in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Which
I never played Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Neither did I. But it's the only fire type in the set. So
it's dog water.
I can't say it's dog water because I've seen two distinct deck lists that are playing it right now. So there's a deck list with Silvally, which we'll talk about later, that is playing this card. This card is usually the opener, and it works really, really well with the Silvally concepts. Then I've also seen this deck, James, in Ninetales Blaine.
Okay.
Which is back.
Okay.
So the concept is that, so you're obviously running the Blaine package, but instead of running Ponyta plus Rapidash, you're running Blacephalon plus Lusamine. So the way that it works is you're discarding fire energies for Ninetales' attack, and Ninetales is doing with Blaine 110 or 120. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. So it's doing quite a bit of damage pretty quickly. But you have to discard every turn, so you can't ramp anything else while you're attacking, and that's usually the downside of it. However, you can use Lusamine to get the energy cards that you're discarding onto Blacephalon specifically, and if you're running the tech card of, or the meta warping card, in my opinion, of Celesteela, you could free switch in Blacephalon to nuke something for 130.
Okay, so, now that I don't hate.
It's kind of crazy. I wouldn't put it up with Buzzwole,
I think,
but it is a very interesting card. I think it's a tech card.
Yeah. So okay, and that's just the thing, and that's why it's so important, and why I'm happy that you have this knowledge. I can look at this card in a vacuum.
I thought it was garbage.
This card in a vacuum is unplayable.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was like 70 damage to itself, so it gets knocked out like on 2 Rocky helmets. Are you kidding me? What? So
yeah, I mean this is literally just a worse version of Rampardos.
Yes, it's really, really inconsistent unless you consider it in the archetype in which it's trying to be played.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why am I putting 3 energy to do 130 and almost kill myself?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm okay with that being in tech, and that yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because by itself, it's
yeah. I did my research to see like what people are trying out right now, and like this is not me saying, oh my god, Blacephalon is gonna be crazy, but I'm just putting out, just for your benefit, James. If everyone is thinking right now that Buzzwole EX is the meta, Blacephalon one shots it.
It does.
So yeah, that's pretty damn good. So I would probably put that in there. And if you're running in the Sylvally deck, for example, now you have a counter to Buzzwole that's really strong.
So real quick, Beastite and Beast Wall, since we talked about that a bit, where do you want to
Yeah,
put those? I
I
want to
would
I want to put them both in
niche.
bad, to be
I was gonna
honest.
put them in niche. I think people are trying them out and running them, but it's very uncommon. But
We
until
can
we
put
see them cut,
Beastite in niche, but I think
okay,
Beast
that's
Wall
fine.
is straight bad because it's gonna be dead. Yeah, because
That I'm
it
comfortable
has
with.
a chance to be a completely dead card.
That I'm completely comfortable with. Okay, so next card is Mantine. So I've got a hot take on Mantine.
All right, let's hear the hot take on Mantine.
So I think Mantine would have been great in Space Time Smackdown, this card specifically. I think right now the best I could say for it is that it is niche. I'm not sure we've had a Mantine so far. I don't recall it, but it could be a lower cost replacement for this card in your Gyarados Palkia ramp decks with that use what's it called? That use Manaphy to ramp your guys because
Mm-hmm.
it this requires 3 energy, so sometimes you have to put this guy out in your active slot and it's just a dead card there. Mantine is 1 less energy. Yes, it has 30 less HP, but in the meta we're at right now, it's either getting 1 shot or 2 shot, and this, it doesn't really matter at that point between 90 and 120 HP. But it does 10 less damage. Palkia, you have to coin flip for the extra 60. So like I could see it in some lists if water becomes good, and water may become good because of the amount of Buzzwole, Decidueye, Meowscarada decks that are running around. Because then they're going to be countered by fire, and then what counters fire is usually
Yeah,
water, right?
yeah.
So I would probably throw this with that long explanation to niche at best.
All right, I can live with that. I one card that I really like that
Yeah,
we didn't get a chance to talk about because we didn't do the last set is Alolan Ninetales.
I do like Alola Ninetales. I think it's not very good, but I just like the templating and I like the design of it.
I love the design. I really wish I could have gotten. I opened over 40 packs for the promo event and didn't get a single Alolan Ninetales.
I got quite a few, so I can trade you some once they open that trading up.
That would be amazing. I
So
have a
yeah,
billion of the what is it? The toucan.
the
Toucan.
Toucanon, yeah, which is actually pretty good, by the way. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Um, but yeah. So well, you're talking about using Manaphy to ramp and everything.
Right.
I don't know. I've actually run Alolan Ninetales in my Decidueye deck just because it hits everything on the bench
Oh, you're
at the
running a
same.
grass and water?
It's water only because
Oh,
Decidueye EX's attack is too
that's true.
colorless.
That's true. Oh, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it doesn't hurt the consistency, and
And you can play Irida too.
yep, I can play Irida, which I do because I love Irida as a card,
Right.
and
Irida's a pretty fun card.
I don't have to pick. I just hit every single one of the opponent's bench, and then when Decidueye EX comes out, I can just basically one tap
Yeah.
anything on their bench.
No, that's really good. That's not something I was considering. I would probably not say that is meta, but that's pretty good. I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world.
I don't play meta except for the fact that I've been playing Rampardos since
Yeah,
it came
Rampardos
out.
is like crazy meta. You had that read like way back in February that Rampardos was going to be good.
Yup.
So, okay, let's move on to the next two. I think Carvana, really cool Pokemon. Love this Pokemon and Sharpedo, but Carvana is not fully evolved, and Sharpedo is just bad.
All right.
So
I have brought up the Pokemon you just referenced.
Carvana, how do you pronounce it?
Carvana.
That sounds like better, actually.
You were about to give me a hard time.
Well, yeah, Carvana is kind of how I pronounce it, but Carvana, the Carvana sounds cool. Is it actually pronounced that?
I'm pretty sure it's Carvana.
Let me look this up. How to pronounce Carvana?
This is very important.
Well, usually you're wrong.
Look, I pronounce Pokemon
All right, hold on.
how
I'm
they
pulling
should
it
be
up.
pronounced, not how they're literally pronounced.
Here, I'll put it in the chat for you so you can pull up this video.
Just like Houndour and
It's Houndour.
Rayquaza.
It is Carvana. I'm right.
Let's go! I was right for once.
I'm right. It's Carvana.
What?
Yeah, watch the video. Pull it up.
Carvana.
Hey, Jamie, pull that video up.
Oh. Well, that's stupid. Whoever the hell is in charge of, like, I'm fine with whoever's naming Pokemon. Whoever is
By the pronunciation.
whoever is in charge of pronunciation needs to be fired. Okay.
How do you pronounce the Pokemon we just talked about next to Carvana?
Mantine?
Yeah, I say Mantine.
Oh, okay. Well, that's grammatically correct because of the E at the end. It is a hard I, but Mantine sounds better.
Yeah, it is actually pronounced Mantine. I looked it up.
Which is grammatically incorrect.
Mantine. That's funny.
But we can all agree this is Sharpedo, not Sharpedo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Just
it
so-
is Sharpedo.
'cause-
It's because it's based on torpedo, so not torpedo.
Wait, doesn't Torpedo have an extra?
No.
Oh no, it doesn't. I'm gonna start calling them torpedoes.
No. But like James,
Loose the torpedoes.
you're talking to the guy that knows the most about Pokemon, I think, out of all of our friends.
I think you said knows the most about pedo.
No. Hold on.
Okay, so if we're shopping for cars, where would you put this Pokemon?
If I was shopping for cars, I would put Sharpedo in.
Wait, no, what about Carvana or Carvana?
Carvana is in Not Fully Evolved. Sharpedo's in Bad.
Okay. Why is Sharpedo bad?
I mean, like, look at it and tell me you want to run this card.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
If it weren't a coin flip, I could live with it. I wouldn't think it's great, but I could live with it.
I could live with it, but there's just no reason to run it. I mean, this crunch ability has been in the game in a variety of different forms, and it's just not that good. It's just not that good. Okay, so let's move on to electric already.
Shinx.
This is a pretty big one. So we already have 2 of these guys. I'll send it to you in Space Time Smackdown. So we have Shinx and Luxio. So these are repeats, but I think in almost every case you're going to want to run these 2 new guys.
Yeah, this Shinx, because it actually does damage as opposed to just having a 50% chance of not taking damage. I hate this on basic, like I have no problem with the smokescreen attacks or whatever that do 30 damage or 10 damage or whatever alongside this effect.
Yeah, but they don't do anything and also just don't take any damage.
Yeah, that's just okay. Sit there for a turn and hope that your opponent flips tails. So yeah, I'm gonna put this.
I would put these in. I would put those in niche. Both of those in niche. Because I sent you the old ones, by the way.
Yeah,
so you're saying
I know,
you like the new ones better.
Yes, I like the new ones. I'm gonna add something here.
What is it? Better, but still bad.
Yeah, I'm just gonna better.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably just put that between niche and
yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, and that. Yeah.
Delete.
I don't care what.
Whoops.
Oh, you got rid of bad now.
I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Okay. So I'll yap about the next card, Luxray. So the current Luxray that we have in the set uses Volt Bolt, which discards all electric type energy and snipes anything for 120 damage, which is not bad. However, and also it has 130 HP like the one that we're going to be seeing in front of us here. However, this one basically has like an ability that does 20 less damage. And it applies to all of your Pokemon. So if you have Luxray out and you're facing down a Pheromosa, and Pheromosa uses Jump Boost to do 20 to Luxray and 20 to something else, Pheromosa does a total of 0 damage. Ninetales does a total of 40 damage. 40 to your active and 0 to everything else. So it's actually not bad, and it can synergize somewhat with Volkner, because Volkner will put a bunch of energy on it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're coming in with an opener, which we'll talk about in a second, on the electric type side, and it goes down, you can Volkner to quick charge this thing all the way up to its 90 damage. So it's not bad. It's a finisher for sure. It's not many people are running it, so I'd probably put it in niche at best.
Yeah, I'd give this one niche because I mean it does have use cases like you pointed
Right.
out, but I still think that the other well, when it came out, the other Luxor was a great bench sniper, but now we have better bench snipers.
Yes. We have Decidueye.
Yeah.
Deki Dewey is what I've heard people pronounce it as.
Wow.
It's like a U pronunciation. Um, okay, so these next
How
two,
can I boot you
Blitzel.
from the stream? Let me just.
These next two are Blitzel and Zebstrika. They're just bad. The
Yeah.
previous two did 20 damage and then for 1 energy and then sniped for 30, and those were better, but nobody plays them anymore, so there's no chance that they are going to play these two. So I think just
Well, and having
bad.
2 energy on a
Yeah.
2 energy attack cost on a basic Pokemon that is then going to evolve, so its attack isn't that good in the first place,
Right.
that's just
Yeah, it's not very good. So then Emolga, we
Emolga.
finally have our electric type non-evolving 70 HP 30 damage Pokemon. Yippee, we finally have filled that card slot basically.
we have met the requirements. That is all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We have basically met the requirements. I'm looking through really quickly at all the electric types to try to see if there's a single one that is doing this. And I don't think that there is. Why am I getting a call? No, there is not. Here, hold on. Wait, okay. I'm getting someone was calling me for right there. I'll have to get back to that later. I'm just so busy, James.
It's clearly not as important as talking about Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay, so Emolga I think is niche. I'm sure there'll be an instance in which that, this is valuable, but I just don't see it right now. But I don't think it's necessarily bad because we've seen instances where stuff like Hitmonchan, right, for example, it's a similar template, is useful. So.
Yeah, I mean Hitmonchan hit the bench.
Oh, that was Hitmonlee.
Oh, you're right. Well, and okay, to be fair, one of the reasons that Hitmonchan came into the meta was because of Lucario.
Right. So I think niche at best because maybe we get something like that for electric types, but it's not. I don't see it really in many decks.
All right.
I don't see it in many decks.
Tapu Koko EX. Do you need a minute?
No, it's just yeah, don't worry about it. Tapu Koko EX. I love this card. This card is just better Pikachu EX. It's so good. It literally is just better, more consistent Pikachu EX. Turn 1 Plasma Hurricane for 1 energy, puts another energy, you get chip damage of 20. The next turn you're hitting for 90, which is exactly what Pikachu is doing with your full bench filled up, but you don't need it for this card. And it also has 10 more HP. It is a better Pikachu EX. I love this card.
I like this card.
I think this card I put in meta defining because electric types got a lot from this.
Okay, but how does this card define the meta? What is this card? So here's the thing: when we talk about meta defining,
yeah,
it has to literally define the meta in some way, shape, or form. It has to kick something that is currently in the meta out of the meta to take its place, or just be so forceful in and of itself to force its way in. Like,
I think
it'd be one thing if Pikachu EX were still meta, and this is just a straight upgrade. So now it's going to replace it. But Pikachu EX isn't in the meta. So what does this do? Yes, it's better Pikachu EX, but what is this so much better than Pikachu EX that it brings essentially that same deck into the meta?
I've got the answer for you, right? Okay, so you run this. You're going to run a copy of Electrical Cord, so you attach it to this guy. Mm-hmm. He's out in your active slot. This guy or Zeraora, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But either one of these two doesn't matter. They're both basics. They both do functionally the same thing, which is accelerate energy and attack very quickly. Very quickly. They're in your active slot. You have the cord on it. You have 2 guys on your bench. One of them has to be Pikachu EX from Shining Revelry, which is the Thunderbolt. That's the 3 electric energy for 150.
Mm-hmm.
The other one can be whatever you want. Celesteela, why not? So
No.
this guy gets knocked out, or Zeraora gets knocked out. Electrical tape, whatever it's called, electrical cord,
Electrical tape.
moves 2 energies to your bench, so you can cycle those again. I think I have electrical tape. That's the card.
All right, Patrick. What does this card do?
So this card protects you from being shocked.
That's
But yeah, so it moves it to you Dawn, you get the extra energy up on Pikachu EX, you put your energy for that turn, you hit Donk him for 150. I've seen that work very well.
no, okay. I believe you, and I am much more down to call that meta defining than I am whatever the heck the steroid B is.
This is the 4 cards that have to come together. 2 of them are basics and easily searchable.
Yeah.
You could also, because you're running electrical cord and probably a bunch of other tools, you could also run Pachirisu, which loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's a full of tools loves that. So I think it's meta defining. I think there's only one other deck list, if you will, that's being created by this set, or like 2, depending on how you want to look at it. That also would be in meta defining as well.
All right, I like it.
Yeah, we can move on to the next one. Circuitry. I think this is bad.
Circuitry.
Circuitry is bad. 3 energy,
wow.
60 damage, 100 HP. Your opponent's is now confused. The active Pokemon's now confused. Your opponent's also probably confused why you're running this, but the active Pokemon's now confused. Confused sucks in this generation, or at least in this game. You can retreat out of it. If you miss the coin flip, you don't do any damage to yourself, but you still coin flip for the attack. So it's just like worse. It's even worse than sleep, in my opinion. So it's just not. It's not very good. Why would you run this in a deck? Like the other Ultra Beast cards synergize better with either Dark, which we'll get to in a little bit, or Grass. So there's no real room for Electric. I mean, you have the Blacephalon that does fire, but like that's a unique thing. So there's no real way you're running an Electric type. There's so many better electric types like Tapu Koko, which we just covered, and Zeraora, which we're about to cover, or Corio as well. So it's just competing with all of this deck space. You only have 20 cards. 4 of them are taken up by Professor Oak and Pokeball. So like you only really have 16, and everything's getting pushed out. So this is just on the cutting room floor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw this in bed.
Yep.
All right, on to
Zeraora.
Sure, that's how you pronounce it.
That is how you pronounce it. So this card is a really good opener because at the end of your first turn, no matter whether or not you went first or second, you get a free electric energy, which means that functionally this becomes an attacker for those who go first. It balances that out pretty well. Sits with 90 HP, dealing 50 damage for 2 energy. You could do the electrical tape / electrical cord combo I just mentioned, where we're talking about Tapu Koko. It's functionally another copy of Tapu Koko if you want to squint really hard. So
here's my question. At the end of your first turn, so if you don't open this card, you don't get the effect.
Pretty much, but it doesn't have to be in your active slot either. So I would put it in tech personally, because I think in any instance you'd run it over Tapu Koko, but I can see this as a one of in some electric decks that want another aggressive basic, if you will.
I think we call it either niche or has potential, just because
I
do not like cards that, especially in a game like this, where if you don't get them at a very specific point in time, they're dead. And if you don't get this turn 1, it is a basic Pokemon. You have to put 2 energy on to hit for 50 damage. If you're using this in the mid to late game, you're probably gonna lose anyway.
Right. I'm cool with putting it in has potential. I'm just saying that I've seen it in some of the electric type decks. I could see this getting cut for extra copies of Pachirisu, for example. But right now it's a pretty good 1-point Pokemon, and that can't be really overstated.
No, I agree.
The next card, by the way, we have is Neogenesis Clefairy.
Gotta call that one out.
Just want to let everyone know. We will be having a history of the Pokemon trading card game coming out in like the next week or so, maybe next weekend or something like that. Just when I get to edit it, we have recorded it. We've got more Pokemon content coming out here shortly. We have, I think, 2 Clefairies at this point. One that does this, which is really bad.
10 damage.
Well, I mean, this I was just the one I just sent you,
Oh yeah, I mean,
and then
this is unplayable.
Yeah, and then this one I'm about to send you is probably the best one.
And this is how you make a basic Pokemon that evolves.
Yeah. 60, 20, very standard.
Yep.
So to me, this one's just bad, or
Agreed.
not fully evolved. I'm cool with either.
Oh, jeez.
Bless you.
Thank you. Normally I mute myself, but that one came on fast. Apologies to
And
everybody's
then
ears.
this one, the next card, Clefable, is just bad. I don't think it's any better than either of the other 2. They're also pretty bad. So
Yeah.
I think I just toss this in bad.
Done.
I think I can make a pretty good case for these next 2, Phantup and Trevenant, to also being bad. I mean, it's more than the energy that you would be on curve for. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. No secondary effects. Yeah. So there's just pack filler. These 2 are just pack filler, honestly. Yep. Morlul is not fully evolved. And there's actually no reason to run this one over any of the other Morluls that we've gotten. So
how many have we gotten?
So we've gotten at least 1, I think 2. Let me check real quick.
So is it better than the last ones?
I don't think there's a difference. It entirely depends. So here's 1, right, that we've gotten. I think we've gotten a second one, if I'm not mistaken. That one was
typings.
That one was from Mythical Island. I'll send you a Shiinotic while I'm at it from Mythical Island, since I'm here as well. We're about to cover that. And then we also have a Morlul, maybe. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the other Morlul, and it's worse in my opinion. Although, actually, this one might be better. And then here's the Shiinotic from that set too. So the Grass Morlul I just sent you might actually be better. I'm going to walk that back a little bit. But it's not this Morlul. I think this Morlul is bad. And the reason is because of Shiinotic. So if we can just skip to Shiinotic, we can talk about it more.
On it. Shiinotic.
So Shiinotic, I sent you the other 2 Shiinotics. So one of them, 2 energy, Flickering Spores, 50 damage, 2 grass energy, puts him to sleep. Not very good. 90 HP, which is the same as this one. And then the second one is Flickering Light, which does 50 damage.
What is it called?
Flickering Light does 50 damage, 100 HP. Flip a coin. If tails or if heads they can't attack. So it's like whatever. This Shiinotic is crazy because once during your turn, as an ability, not an attack, you put a random Pokemon for your deck into your hand. So it searches a random Pokemon, any Pokemon, not basic, not a stage 2 or stage 1, any Pokemon.
This ability would be cracked if it were on a basic Pokemon.
Yeah. But this card is colorless, which is why I call out the other colorless Morlul. Yeah, that one. Because then you could theoretically put both of these 2 cards in any deck. You have grass and psychic coverage then.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say has potential for this card because we just don't know. Right now, deck space is uber tight. So just putting a searcher that's going to search you the card that you don't want, more than likely, is just like not many people are running this. And you also have to run its pre-evolution. So
yeah, that's the fact that this is stage 1 is the biggest drawback. But also this ability right here, because at the beginning of the game, most of the time, you'll just take any Pokemon you can get.
Right, you're thinning your deck.
Yeah, but worst. By the time you have Shiinotic out, unless you happen to evolve it on your second turn, by the time you have this Pokemon out, you know which Pokemon you want, and a lot of, at least my decks, are structured around, okay, let's just grab all, because we have Pokeball, so let's just grab all the basics immediately. Now it's just a matter of getting the specific Pokemon that we want. So like say I've got all the basics that I want, but I really need a Rampardos right now.
Right.
And then I activate this ability and it gets me, I don't know, a Rockruff. Like that's not helpful, my dude. I only have 1 stage 2 in my deck. I have 2 Pokemon and I get the one that I don't want. So
Where this may work is in Garchomp decks, because then you could add the Pokemon and you don't care if it's good or not, because you're going to reckless shearing it away anyway to draw the actual cards that you want. So like maybe that's where it happens, but now you're talking about 3 additional cards minimum that you need for this to really be in effect. So I just think it has potential, because we might see stuff that you're going to want to just deep draw your deck because you're looking for that one card that makes your deck cracked. So you put this bad boy in there because it's going to thin your deck for you.
So. you got to run this in your Buzzwole deck.
No, I don't think so. that deck is tight enough as it is, but I think it has potential is where this guy should go.
Okay, Metatite.
So I know we've gotten one of these before.
We have. We've gotten a couple, haven't we? We've got one that was literally just a Hitmonchan.
Metatite?
Yeah.
No, because.
Or no, not. I'm thinking of Hitmontop.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think you're thinking of Hitmontop either, but.
Yeah, I totally am.
Either way. I just sent you the 2 that were in Triumphant Light. So what is your take on this?
All right, so the other one's got that, and this one, flip a coin if heads, this attack does 20 more damage. So they're the same card.
Yep.
They're literally the same card. Average damage of 20, average damage of 20.
Yep. So I just don't care. I just put it not fully evolved personally.
I'm down. How about Metacham?
Kind of feel the same, but like it's better than the previous one. But
yeah,
like,
because this has an average damage of 40 and this has guaranteed damage of 50 for the same energy cost.
Yeah, I think it's better, but like I don't think anyone's running it personally.
Yeah, well, the Metatype Metacham line is like a lot of the cards that I saw being ran when I first started playing back in Mythical Island, where it's just like, oh, we've got a basic Pokemon that does 20 damage, evolves into a stage 1 that does 40 or 50 for 1 energy. That's what you want out there first while you're building up something on your bench.
Right.
Which that's no longer, that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Yep. Baltoy. I think that's the first Baltoy, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. It's also bad.
I would just throw it in not fully evolved for right now because we don't want to talk about it. We don't care. We want to talk about the next guy. What's your thoughts on this one?
Can't be healed. I don't like this.
You don't like it?
No, I mean, so, okay, I guess if you... I know healing is super prevalent in the meta now.
Right, because of Lilies, you've got Ericas, you've got Iridas.
Yeah, so, okay, I like its ability. I like the fact that it's stage 1. I could justify running this as a...
Close my door.
There, you're good. I could justify as running this line as a one-of, specifically to sit on my bench.
Mm-hmm.
I would never put this in the active spot. 3 energy for 50 damage is
terrible. Not very good.
But I think that how good this card is depends entirely on how prevalent healing is in the meta, and if you can fit it into your deck. So I would definitely call this a niche card.
I would put it in niche at best. I think it's a little bit overhyped right now. I really don't see the benefit. This next card, Rockruff, is bad, by the way.
I think another reason, and this is my big thing on healing specifically. Mm-hmm. Right now, the meta is largely a whole bunch of one-hit KOs.
Yeah.
So yes, healing mostly comes into play when you, for whatever reason, had to have the Pokemon that you're building up to one-hit KO your opponent be in the active slot, so they're taking damage. You're playing against a bench sniping deck, so they're taking damage on the bench, or you're running Rampardos. Those are the main reasons to have healing. And I don't even, how would you even?
Well, I mean, the Solgaleo deck likes healing because it's not one tapping anything, and it's not really getting one tapped all that much. So it appreciates the healing. Decidueye, Decadui also appreciates that too. Like these stage 2 decks do like healing, but investing in the Claydol versus just investing in something that does more damage, I don't see the reason for it. Like
That
theoretically, it
that's
can
kind
do
of what
60
I
damage,
was. That's
but
kind of what I was
yeah,
thinking. So like, again, healing, I don't think is that much of a problem in the meta. It would be
yeah,
if we were back in the days when doing 90 damage per turn was cracked, and then your opponent heals 50, and all of a sudden you can't two hit KO them. Then
right,
you could make an argument for Claydol. But right now, you're either one hit KOing your opponent, or
yeah,
you're damn near one hit KOing them, and healing them for 50 isn't going to be enough to save them from a second attack. So why even use that healing in the
right,
first place?
right. No, I don't disagree. I think there's a couple cards that are like this. I think this is a little bit overhyped because it has an ability.
Yeah, like I said, it has its uses
Yeah,
depending
it's
on the
niche.
meta, so
It's
it's
very
niche,
niche.
but I wouldn't put it higher.
Rockruff, I just tossed it and not fully evolved. It's way worse than the previous one that everyone was using. There's no point in running it,
Bad.
but yeah, that's fine. Lycanroc EX, cool. What is your thoughts on this one, James?
So discard a fighting. So here's my problem with this: fighting doesn't have any ramp inherent to it.
Yeah,
So any fighting Pokemon, they tend that like this that have a high energy cost and also forces you to discard energy on top of it being a stage 1, so you can't not just gonna come out swinging. It's not searchable by Pokeball, for example. This is completely uninspiring. And again, if you're wanting to do something with 130 damage,
it's got the same stats as Rampardos.
yeah, you've got Rampardos right there. It costs 1 energy, and with Rare Candy now, it's a lot more consistent than it was when I first started playing it.
There's actually a really good Rampardos tech that runs my favorite Pokemon from this set, and I'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah,
so
I would probably throw this in bad. It's just such a shame because there's like no good fighting EX Pokemon right now.
Yeah,
So
I think
they keep on getting the shaft.
Gallade EX was not too bad when
Right.
Celebi was still meta.
Yeah, but now it's very much not. So
Yeah.
All right. This next guy, Passimian. So he's actually not bad. I've seen this work. I would probably throw it in niche at best. But I've seen decks where it's like, it's an opener, 2 energy, 80 damage. Not bad. And it's basic Pokemon. It's got 100 HP. It's kind of chunky. It can work, but it's just like there's just no really particularly good fighting decks that want this.
Well, that's just the thing. Again, if I'm running fighting and I want a strong opener, I'm just going to grab Hitmonchan.
Right. Well, yeah, sure.
I mean, it does 10 less damage, has 20 less health, but it attacks 1 turn sooner.
It's not conditional.
And yeah, it doesn't have a conditional increase to this.
I
mean, honestly, even if this were a coin flip, I would like it better.
Right. True.
So,
yeah.
I'd put it in bad.
I think it's niche, but I'm not going to argue the bad rating. These next 2 are pretty god awful.
Sandy Gas and Palo Sand.
So I'll send you the other 2 that have already been released. And the card that goes with them that everyone forgets about because it's bad. Primarily.
Oh, I forgot about this card.
Yeah, I think both of these should just end up in bad because there's no real reason to run them, in my opinion. And the support card doesn't do anything.
So move 40 damage. What does this Palossand do? During your opponent's next turn, the friendly Pokemon can't retreat. Oh my god. I like this supporter card.
I like the templating, but the cards that it works with suck.
Yeah.
Like the cards that it work with are not very good.
I mean, this old Palossand is honestly better just because it's
less energy.
Attacking sooner. Four energy for 90 damage.
And a basically useless ability, in my opinion.
I just run Houndoom. He's got cooler card art.
And you might say, the comments may say, well, but it can trap Buzzwole. You don't want to trap Buzzwole because Buzzwole one-shots this.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Like, just be honest. Buzzwole one-taps this. So
hey, speaking of trapping, and Buzzwole, time for Houndoom to come make a...
Oh, true, I guess. But Houndoom also gets one shot by...
Shh. We don't talk about that.
Fair enough. All right. Okay, so now let's move on to the dark type. Alola Meowth, Garbaggio.
Yep,
Not
don't
very
like
good.
this. I
Do
I
not
would
like
like this more if it did if it did even 10 or 20 damage. I
Yeah.
would be okay with this, but
Well, here's my thing, James. If they have a tool in their hand, they've already attached it to a Pokemon.
unless they don't have a Pokemon to attach it to, or they're waiting
Right,
for a
but then at
specific
that point,
Pokemon.
it doesn't exist anyway. It's not doing anything in their hand. It's not going to do anything. So it's it's just not very good.
Well, I mean, my point is that if this did damage, then you could at least it would be defensible.
Yeah, and it would only probably do 10 damage.
It would have to do 10, otherwise it would the power
It'd just be
budget
better.
would be
Yeah.
over.
The power budget would be you run out of the power budget. But I think it's bad. I think the next one is bad because it's just yet another typed energy plus colorless energy and useless ability. It's the same thing as Sharpedo, where it's gonna I swear it's gonna discard an energy and do nothing.
Honestly,
this is functionally the same thing.
a card that, again, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it, that's kind of in this same vein is Alolan Raticate.
Yep.
And I actually like that
functionally
one.
the same thing. I don't, but fair enough.
I didn't say it was good. I said I liked it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's better, but this is just bad. I think it just goes in bad with Alola Meowth.
Yeah. Sandile.
Yeah, so just throw Sandile and Krokorok into not fully evolved. This is the first time we're seeing these. We got to talk about Crocodile. So Crocodile, I just faced this card with one of my decks, and it's like, oh my gosh, if he hits 3 heads, I'm screwed. He hit 1 head over the course of 2 attacks. I was fine. He knocked out one of the 2 rare candies that were in my hand with that head. It didn't matter. This card is not very good. 3 energy for 90 damage is respectable. It's a stage 2, and its effect really doesn't matter.
So I don't want to say its effect doesn't matter, because this effect, just like Team Rocket Grunts, just like Misty, can be game winning if it goes in your favor.
It's just if it goes in your favor, you're investing 6 cards to maybe have something go in your favor.
Yes, and that's the problem that this has that the other two don't, because the other 2 are just trainer cards.
Right.
They're supporters, so at worst you're giving up your chance to use a Professor's Oak or an Erica or something. But here, yeah, it is a stage 2, so even if you have rare candy, you're still eating up 2 to 4 spots in your deck. It takes 3 energy to attack, which 3 for 90 on a stage 2 I think is pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. And for an effect like that, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so like I have no problem with this effect. I have a problem with everything else it takes to get to this effect.
Right.
Personally.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree. I still think this is bad. Right. I don't think it is not the effect's fault. Now, you could argue that the effect is taking up a bunch of power budget to make the rest of the card bad. But the effect itself, I think, is good. It's just the requirements to use the effect make the overall package bad. Like,
I would probably toss it in bad for that reason, though.
Yeah. Like, if this were, I mean, if I were to make the card better, I could see make it a stage 1, 2, do 70 damage, and on this, then I could live with that.
Yeah. If this was Krokorok and it had 2 energy, do even 50, and it had this effect, like, that's fine, but it's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not. All right, Nihilego. Why don't you go ahead and read that card? Let me know what you think.
Oh, sorry, I was so focused on the name. It takes plus 10 damage from being poisoned. I actually really like this card, just because me and poison go hand in hand.
Right.
And I really like Poison Barb from the last set.
Right.
So personally, yeah, I mean, I could get behind a deck like this with the monkey thing that poisons on a coin flip with Poison Barb.
It's a lemur, but yeah, that's fine.
What's that?
It's a lemur. It's called Grafai, but that's fine.
Lemurs are monkeys.
I guess it's true. I think it's a lemur at least, but yeah,
I think you're right that it's a lemur.
it's called the Toxic Monkey Pokemon. So
There you go. I'm
it's
technically right.
at base, it's a monkey. Okay, yeah. So couple things. You obviously identified the Grafai combination, also obviously the Poison Barb combination. It also works really well with Naganadel, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and also Genetic Apex Koga plus Wheezing combo. It
Yeah.
also will work with because you're just so heavily focused on poison, Clodsire EX. It also can work with Alolan Muck EX. It also can work with Scoliope. So
Yep.
there's a lot of stuff in the poison package that this loves. It also stacks. So now if you have 2 of these, you're taking 40 damage a turn from poison.
I think the poison package is almost
That's-
getting
wait,
to have
60,
too many
yeah.
cards at this point. So
They all do different little tiny things.
They do. If I were to run I would probably do this with Grafai, with the Poison Barb, and Clodsire EX.
Yep. And I think at that point you've got enough poison causing abilities that this will likely go off because its attack also poisons.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a lot of stuff going for this card. I think that it's has potential because this card hasn't broken on the meta that I've seen yet, but I think it really easily can.
I think my big issue why I think that Dot will never break out into the meta into the game the meta as the game is right now.
Right.
It's because now I'm doing 20 damage technically 40 damage per turn. You can just heal that and then one hit KO.
Right.
With your Pokemon. So, with at least with Scolipede and Clodsire,
you're chunking them for huge amounts of damage.
That's what, 120 and 130 damage respectively?
Right.
Or flip it around. But
yeah, roughly.
Yeah, and then you combine that with poison, then you can potentially one hit KO just about everything because then you're going to do an additional 40 damage before they can even heal. But just the Dot by itself, I think I think is negligible these days.
Nope, very fair, very fair. But I think that I think once we we should just keep getting more and more poison tools, and I think that there's going to reach a critical mass where it's just poison is just oppressive.
Good.
So I know I figured you'd be happy. This next card I would probably put in meta defining. Go ahead and give that a read.
Guzzlord. Flip coin until he gets. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, this is literally just Team Rocket Run on legs.
And so Guzzlord 18 trainer is back. Because you can run 2 Guzzlords. The first one gets KO'd. You just Lusamine 2 energies onto the second one. It's already ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
170 HP. Goes up to 190 with capes. Super chunky Pokemon. Lots of healing cards in the meta right now that you can obviously run. And it just basically stun locks your opponent out because of its ability and just kills them with, finishes them off with Tyrannical Hole.
Yeah, no, so, I love everything about this card.
Yeah, I think it's meta defining. It's probably the weakest of the 3 that I've discussed so far with that, but I think that it's there's a couple different like dark type decks, and there's obviously an 18 trainer deck. It also works very well Celesteela because that 4 retreat cost that's built into its power budget no longer matters. So yeah, it's pretty darn good. It does get hard countered by Decadui and
I'm not reading that winter.
What did he say? Oh my god.
Okay. I'm not reading that.
So
thanks for showing up though.
Yeah. If you're ready, we can move on to Poipole and Naganadel. Or Naganadel. Wait, no. It is Naganadel. So Poipole is not fully evolved, so I think we just skip over to Naganadel.
Agreed.
Don't laugh, you'll get canceled, James. True.
I'm uncancelable.
Me too. Okay, so the next 2, Poipole, Naganadel. Naganadel, I think, is fine. I mean, I think you can run 2 of this and 2 of Nihilego, and you'd be pretty happy because it's very aggressive.
Yeah, I take issue with the fact that it's stage,
stage
one,
one.
but
Yeah.
beyond that,
I
it's
think
okay.
it's like tech, maybe.
You can call it niche. I mean, it's an
Niche is fine.
option.
Yeah, niche is fine.
You know, it is an option to run in the poison package. I just think that if you have Clodsire, I'd rather go that route. It
True,
just does
true.
more damage total.
Sure. I didn't think about that. Alola Diglett is bad, as is a Logan Doug Trio. I will die on those hills. This card sucks. I
Okay,
hate this card.
flip 3 coins, attack does 60 damage for each heads. The only thing this has going for is it's only a 2 cost.
It's a 2-cost 2-stager, but it has 130 HP, which is really low, and you can hit for 0, which people have faced me with this card, and they have hit for 0, and I win off of that. So yeah, no, it's not. I don't think it's very good.
It's not very tanky for a stage 1 EX.
Yeah. This next line, Aron, Laron, and Aggron, also I would just toss that in there right away. Just immediately throw it in the dumpster.
Yeah, so let's look at Aggron real quick.
It's 4 energy,
nope.
160 HP, does 150 damage, but also can't attack the next turn. But it doesn't have the same benefits from Beast, Ultra Beast that Buzzwole does. So
let's just look at this from a power budget perspective. So it's a stage 2.
Yep.
4 energy cost.
4 retreat cost.
4 retreat. It can only attack every other turn.
So it's an average of 75 damage.
Yep, for 4 energy, mind you.
Yeah.
And you have 160 HP. The only thing this card has going for it is that it's steel and it can be beefed up with adamant.
Right. It's just not very good.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, that's absolute garbage.
You can James, I can power it up with Dialga. Why don't you just power up Arceus instead?
You can power up anything with Dialga.
Anything else? Yeah, literally anything else.
Steel keeps getting kicked in the nuts.
So, yeah, Steel and fighting just keep on getting like curb stomped for no reason. So
this is the first Pharaoh Seed we've seen.
Yes, and
so,
it and Ferrothorn are both pretty bad in my opinion.
Okay, if this Pokemon in the active spot is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 20 damage. So it's just
Druddigon.
Yeah, it's just Druddigon, but it's stage 1. So yeah, that's bad.
So I think it's bad. It's pretty bad.
Do you have a Druddigon, by the way? I only have 1. I need another Druddigon.
I have a lot of Druddicons. I can trade them to you after we're done with this.
Thank you.
Okay, Sakateka. This card is pretty bad in my opinion. It synergizes with nothing else in the set because it's not a grass type and it's not a normal type. It just does 40 damage and takes 20 less. Who cares?
I mean, you could make the argument that you could run this as a stall card, but there are just better stall cards.
Yeah. Yep.
So there is a reason to run this, but I think here's the thing though. So as we get further and further into this game, we also have to keep in mind that yes, Druddigon is still the premier stall card. Yep. But what if you just joined the game and this is the only set you've opened? This is a great stall card if Druddigon didn't exist and a couple others.
And a couple others, meaning like half the cards, but yes. Yeah, I mean, if this is all you're opening, yeah. If you're doing like a draft mode, sure, you'd be tickled if you pulled this card. Like, oh, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But I just think in the grand scheme of the game, it's bad.
Oh, it's still bad. I just want to point out that to everyone who's watching,
yep.
You know, if you're new to the game and this is the only set you've opened and you pulled it, I mean, it is a functional stall card. This card isn't unplayable. It's just worse than other options.
Yeah. And by the way, I think we put every single steel type in bad. There was not a single one that escaped bad.
Yep, you are correct so far.
Yeah.
That's it. We're out of steel.
It.
Yep, all the steel cards are bad. Move on.
In there. Okay, so Lillipup, Herdier, toss those in, not fully evolved, and let's talk about Scotland.
All right, let's talk about England's northern neighbor.
So this card is just annoying. I don't think it's very good. Its ability is all that really matters. As long as Pokemon in the active slot, attacks used by the opponent's Pokemon cost 1 more colorless energy. It's just annoying.
Yeah, I would love this if it were on a stage 1 instead of a stage 2 and did not have to be in the active slot.
Yep, but that would be at that point pretty broken. So
that would be really, really good. I don't think
they're gonna post that up. So.
Everybody play that. So I would put this. You could put it in niche because it's got its uses.
Yeah, I would agree. So Stuffle and Beware, you can toss those in better. I don't think either one of these are very good. I sent you the two from the last set, and you'll look at it and go, "Oh yeah, Stuffle's better, but it's not very good."
Yes, this Stuffle is better.
And then
Tantrum.
Beware, the original Beware is trash.
Yeah.
And then the new Beware is 3 energy, 2 coins, both have to be heads, and then the active Pokemon gets knocked out if that's the case. So I've got a story for you, James.
Okay.
So I was doing the solo battles, and anyone that's doing solo battles knows that this card is in there. I had 1 Charizard out, hadn't lost a single Pokemon. If it missed both heads, I win and I get move on with my day. It hit both heads and killed my Charizard, and I lost to this card. I was PO. This isn't better, but I hate this card. This is a 25% variance, and it of course hits it against me.
Yeah, I mean that's how it's supposed to go. You lose all the coin flips.
Yeah, if I was playing this card, I'd never hit it. But obviously,
25% chance for insta KO.
Yeah,
and he gets hit.
Yep, of course, right. So Oranguru, I think this one is worse than the previous one, which I sent in the chat for you. Yeah, literally. And of course, it kills me.
Yeah.
Yes, Winter, 25% chance for instant KO. Ha!
Thank you for that.
That's what I was saying. So yeah, Oranguru, this one I think is just bad. 70 for 3. I think the older Oranguru is better, but I still don't think the older Oranguru saw any play.
I would say this Oranguru is definitely better.
Yeah, but it doesn't do anything. Like, oh, you can't make my Charizard. My Charizard can't retreat anymore. What am I gonna do?
Donk.
Yeah, I'm just stoking anyway, dog.
Type null.
This card is goated. This card and Silvally are goated. I'm running a deck right now where it's type null plus Silvally and Garchomp, baby Garchomp. It's crazy good. Oh my gosh, 16 trainer type null Silvally decks, crazy, because it doesn't get countered by anything really in the meta right now. Unless it's like just one tapping your Silvally for whatever reason, but usually this thing's getting going so fast. But it doesn't get countered by Oricorio like normal 18 or 16 trainer decks. You run just a ton of supporters, and there's so many supporters you want to play anyway. Like, you want to play Gladion, so yep, you're tossing this in there. If you're running a Ultra Beast package, you could put Lucamine or something else in there. I mentioned Blacephalon earlier, which gives you a lot of answers to a lot of stuff, which is great. You're going to have Professor Oak's research. You're going to have probably 2 copies of Red. I run 2 copies of Giovanni. You can have Sabrina. You can have the other guy, Cyrus. In my deck, I run Cynthia. So, like, there's so many good supporters that this guy every turn is basically should just read deal 100 damage for 2 energy on a stage 1. Super hyper consistent. There's a great deck right now that has Silvally plus Rampardos. You always open with type null. You can Pokeball or Comms for Silvally, bring that out. You have a bunch of supporter cards you want to play. This card is so good. However, I'm not crazy enough to say that it's meta defining.
I was gonna say, I look at this and I go, counterpoint Rampardos.
Yes, well, but you run it with Rampardos. So this is your opener. Dies, you bring a Rampardos, and Rampardos closes out the game.
That doesn't prevent your opponent from running Rampardos, but yes.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But hey, if they kill themselves on your Silvally, you bring in your Rampardos, you revenge kill them. Easy.
That's true. So,
it's just this is a very, very, very well designed card. And I think it's really good. So I'd put it in tech cards for sure.
So I'm put type null and not fully evolved.
I think type null itself is pretty good too, because it's got a chance to do 40 damage, but not fully evolved is fine.
It's also not a fully evolved Pokemon.
Sure.
And yeah, I'll put this up here in tech cards.
Yep, because I can see this is the normal type card outside of like Celesteela for Ultra Beast builds that you just slot into random crap.
No, I haven't pulled any Silvally yet, but I like this. I like this card a lot.
Yeah. So we're done with the Pokemon now.
Yep. We've done Beast Wall, so we're under Repel.
Repel, I think, is a tech card, personally, for me, because there's so many big basics, and particularly EXs and whatnot. There's your Dark Tina decks that if you want to shuffle things around, this doesn't use your supporter. There's obviously the Ultra Beast decks that then this can shuffle around as well. There are just plenty of big basics out there that you're going to want to switch around. I mean, every single deck is running a basic Pokemon pretty much. So you're going to get some value out of it, period. Hold on. Jax is scratching my carpet.
Uh-oh. We have a cat issue, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to run an ad while this is going so that we don't get any more ads on pop-up.
Okay. I'm back.
I'm running an ad for another 50 seconds.
Oh, you're running an ad?
Well, yeah, because then it prevents people from pre-roll ads triggering when people join the stream.
Oh, fair enough then. So should we continue talking?
Yeah, give it 30. Well, I mean, we're still live on YouTube, so.
Okay. So yeah, we can just continue with this then.
So here's the thing about. So did you say niche or tech?
I think tech.
I would argue niche just because it's so dependent on what the meta is.
True.
Like
that's true.
Right now, yes, it is absolutely a tech card. Because there are so many big basics, there are basic EXs running around, all the ultra beasts. But if we go back just 2 sets, Repel does absolutely nothing.
I guess true.
So I think I am okay with it. I don't know.
I think it has potential just because
let's
of what you just said.
Let's do has potential. We'll cut the baby down the middle.
Okay, next up, I think electrical cord, unless we've discussed that.
Yep, electrical cord is next.
I would put that into tech cards as well because it's not an auto include, but it does have really good combos like I outlined earlier.
Yeah.
It's exactly what like Pachirisu wants, really. It's electric based tool, so it's gonna be pretty good.
Yes, I like it.
And it works really well with a lot of the electric cards that came out in the set.
Electric has a lot of recovery.
Yes.
They have a lot of recovery, and with Pachirisu, they have ramp, and Electric also just naturally has low energy costs for their attacks. So I think Electric has so far really just been missing a big beefy boss Pokemon because it's had like Pikachu EX for example, but I mean that's just been power craft. But now that we have Tapu Koko in here, I think that that by itself is going to make Electric, and with everything else that is Electric already, is going to make Electric a lot more common.
Right. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I just think it's pretty good. But yeah.
We got Gladion next.
Gladion. This just put it wherever you put Silvally because it is a great. It just searches type Null or Silvally, gets it out of your deck, and it synergizes very well with Silvally's ability.
So
you just use it, search, and then you do 50 more damage. So pretty good. Well designed card too, by the way.
Yeah.
It also makes Silvally more consistent.
I was gonna say I was gonna knock it for being a supporter, but the fact that then triggers Silvally's ability.
Right.
The only downside is this card is more likely to be dead than something like a Pokeball or a Pokemon Communication.
True, but you can also just play it. You can play it in your Silvally deck and just assume it reads plus 50 damage.
Does it count as playing if its effect doesn't resolve?
Yep.
Then yes, in that case it literally just reads plus 50 damage and it's goated.
Like literally I played I'm running the Garchomp deck, right? So I played Cynthia, but I had Silvally in the active. I attacked with Silvally, it still did plus 50. So like Cynthia now reads in my deck do 50 more damage, period. Because it's either going to buff Garchomp, which is what it's designed for, or it's going to buff Silvally.
Fair enough.
So, like, you run that in that deck, right? So, like, this card functionally reads, grab a type Null or Silvally. If you don't have them, just do 50 more damage.
Doesn't that...
Good card.
Is it Cynthia also buffs Togekiss?
Yes. Yes, it does.
So why not run Togekiss now that we have Rare Candy?
You could, yeah. That's definitely an option. I mean, it's 2 energy. It's the same difference.
It's 2 energy. It's a 60 damage attack plus 50 the first turn with Cynthia, and then what is it? It's another. Is it plus 60?
Yeah,
every turn after
that. It does
that?
120 every turn after that, basically.
So
it's really good. The reason I like running Garchomp is twofold. Number one, its ability is really, really good. Allows you to shear off cards. So if you don't have a supporter, you have another chance of getting one, or you can trade one of your supporters you don't need for the rest of the game for one that you do need. So like it's really good. And also I just love stunting on my opponents, saying that they lost to a dragon type.
That's okay. You're using that one. That's fair.
Yeah.
I thought you were using the.
Oh no. No, I'm not using the ground type one. I'm using the dragon type one. So
Okay.
everything in my deck is a one prizer. So I don't mind if things get knocked out early.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I might have to. This opens up. Savali opens up a lot of interesting combinations. I'll have to try it. I'm gonna try it with Togekiss.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
by
put
the way,
that open tech cards.
your average neighborhood said I think I'm like your second cousin. No joke.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Like
I don't know if that's
cousin.
directed at you or directed at me as well. So we'll find out, I guess.
If that is who I think it is, then you are correct. You are my second cousin.
Anyway,
now this last one is me because I'm a looker.
Yes, looker. Yeah, this card is, I think, slept on, but it's not very good.
So here's the thing. What does this do for you? So the whole point about getting hand knowledge is more valuable than deck knowledge, because all deck knowledge does is tells you what your opponent is playing, which is really valuable in some games.
Right.
Not so much in this one, because it's a very small deck, and based on what your opponent opens up with, you're probably going to figure out pretty quickly what they're playing, and then you can infer from there what they're running. And at that point, what matters more is what do they have in their hand, because that's what they can use, not what do they have in their deck.
But James, it shows you all the supporters in their deck. You can just take a look at their discard pile, do some quick math, and say, oh, they have a Professor's Research in there. They have a Lily in there, because that's the list they're running. We're between those two areas. They're missing these three cards. I know they're in their hand. I'm going to red card them.
Yeah, you could do that. That is absolutely an option. Now, that is a lot more applicable in Ultra Ball and above than it is anywhere else in the game.
Because anywhere else, you're like, what are you running, dude? Why do you have Garchomp with Silvally in there, my guy? So
exactly. So
it's great in tournaments too, because tournaments are open deck lists. So you know what the list is. So you just pull it up in front of you. Go, oh, well, I saw this in their deck. I saw this. Oh, so they have a Lily in there. I need to get that out of their hand, or else they're going to win next turn. Gone.
That's a little. Yes, you could do that. That's a little cheap. Don't be reading people's deck lists while you're playing.
That's what people do.
Them.
That's what people do. So
they
I'm just
suck
saying,
then.
If it's available to you at the time and it's well within the rules, there's nothing stopping you from doing it.
Morally, it's wrong.
But does that not make this card better?
Sure, it makes the card better. You could make
the person worse.
Yeah, it does. Okay, here. I'll put it at the top of bad.
I think it should be in niche, but sure.
We can put it in niche, but just like Buzzwole, I'm not putting my name on that one.
That's fine. So we already talked about Lucamine, I think, right?
Yep, that was So we talked about Lucamine, so that is everything. Because then we just have shinies cards, and full arts.
Yep. So what's your favorite 1-star card? What do you think? There's one correct answer.
1-star card. Do you mean the one diamond, or do you mean one?
No,
cost?
1 star. So the rarity. So the full art for the basics, non-EXs.
Okay, I think you want me to say Savali.
No, that's not the one I'm picking,
I think Celesteela looks cool.
Yeah, the found footage UFO Celesteela is crazy.
I saw this earlier in the Wonder Pick, and I tried to get it, and I failed. But
it's really cool. It's
really cool. This is really cool artwork.
Yeah.
Savali this is almost like a manga type artwork. I like this.
Yeah, I've got 2 of these, actually. I don't have a single regular Savali, but I have 2 of these Savali.
Of course you do. Winter said, based in reading people's deck list, Chad.
Yeah. I put that out there, and Winter's like, hell yeah. This guy gets it.
As for the EX ones?
Yeah, the Rainbow Rares probably would be the ones that are looking the best, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, as far as the 2-star, I like the Lycanroc EX best.
Oh yeah, I've got that card, by the way.
I don't.
I kind of like Guzzlord because it kind of looks like Cho'Gath, I think he's pretty Chad.
That's
But
fair.
the Lycanroc EX, the Pride Rock vibes are really good.
Yes, this is really cool. And then yeah, as far as down here, yeah, I think I would definitely go with that. This is just disturbing.
What, the Guzzlord?
The Buzzwole.
Oh, the Buzzwole flying in the air.
This is like
That's the immersive rare for the set.
this is like a Michael self insert
What?
because his favorite Pokemon is Beedrill.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I was like, what do you think? That's what Michael looks like. I was like, he doesn't have 4 legs.
does he have 4 legs?
Yes.
What?
Yes, he has 4 legs. Go look at his full art. He has 4 legs.
Oh God. Oh God.
Did you not know this?
No, I've never played whatever game this thing came out in.
Do you know what typing he is?
Grass, clearly.
No. He's bug fighting.
Well, yes, I know. I was talking.
Oh, you're talking about it in the game. Okay.
Yes.
What's your favorite shiny?
So just the normal shinies down
Oh,
here.
before you scroll down, do you know what the crown rare is in the set?
No.
Okay. Guess.
I
What do you think it is? Don't scroll down. Scroll up if you have.
haven't I didn't scroll down and see it all the way. Is it Silvally?
No. Guess again. It's an Ultra Beast.
Oh, it's an Ultra Beast.
Yeah.
It's got to be Buzzwole because Buzzwole has the immersive.
No, it's not Buzzwole.
Tapu Koko?
No, Tapu Koko is not an Ultra Beast.
Oh, shit, you're right. I don't know.
We've talked about it already. Obviously.
Celesteela?
No.
Just go. What other Ultra Beasts are there?
Give you a hint. It's a basic.
Guzzlord.
No, it's not an EX. It's a basic non-EX.
Mihelgo.
Yes. Why? I don't know.
Is my
But-
jellyfish friend.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite shiny though?
Aerodactyl, for sure.
You think which? Oh, the EX one. I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, just both in general.
Okay. I gotta be very basic and say that I think the Greninja looks sick.
The
But
Greninja looks really cool.
I love shiny Pidgey. I think I like the artwork, and obviously pink Celebi is pretty cool too.
Pink Celebi is pretty cool. I really like the pink/purple Aerodactyl because he's more purple in this one.
That's true. That's true. So okay, cool. Well, I think we've assessed every single card in here. So
Yeah, so
obviously
this is the
100%
final
right,
list.
as usual.
Most of it is correct.
I would say all of it's correct, 100%. And the only thing that's incorrect is Looker is going to be meta defining. Everyone's going to be running it.
meta-defining.
Everyone's going to be running Looker. You can clip that. Put it in the future. Everyone's going to run Looker. Put 2 of them in your deck. You want to play them as much as you possibly can. They're the best cards that were released in the set is Looker. We love non-Tentacruel. Yeah, that's true.
All right, I have
Did you just
revised
put
the
Looker
list.
all the way up there?
What's that?
What did you put in there? Did you put Looker tier?
No, it's-
Patrick on drugs. Looker plus Buzzwole. That you should have put the Buzzwole flying through the sky.
Let me just yeah, there we go. I gotta doesn't let me scroll.
And put regular Buzzwole and Meta Warping where it belongs. There you go. That's it. Dude, I hit him with the Buzzwole EX plus Looker combo. Surrendered immediately.
Dude, when I don't have the brain power for this.
No, he just
Concede.
went Chad. I opened Dragonite plus Looker, and this guy's like, he's on another level. I can't compete with him. He deserves the win for running that in his deck.
Oh, that's
So.
great.
All right. Well, I think we've hit this pretty well. For everyone listening that's still here, thank you very much. Please do like, subscribe. We're going to be getting out some Pokemon TCG content on our channel here shortly. We've got another card art video in the works, as well as another Pokemon history, and then a super special secret surprise video. So hopefully you guys are going to tune in for those and enjoy them.
And for those of you who have actually watched and enjoyed the stream content for I can't think of it now, Lethal Company, make sure to go check us out on Twitch. We're streaming every once in a while, so it's not super consistent, but come hang out with us.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.